Hi guys, welcome back to Michael's Backyard Marina. K6 is back with me today. He's got some parts in. Ordered off of all the links you'll find below here in the description. We're going to go after the carburetor, the fuel pump, we got new spark plugs.
A little bit of everything we got.
What else? Oh, we got some new wiring, some
wire.
nice 8 gauge, was it silver coated wire?
Yep.
Tin
coated copper wire.
Tin-coated copper wire. Tin-coated copper wire. That's what you want to use, marine grade wire. Because you'll have wiring, I don't know if you can see it here, but this looks pretty gnarly. It's all corroded and green and open and nasty.
It's not even wire anymore. It's more like a metal dust.
That's what you call was wire.
Was wire. It's the new Was Wire brand.
Anyway, Kyle's never pulled off a starter to carburetor before, so I'm just going to stand back and let him do the wrenching. And I'm going to run some camera stuff, and you guys watch and learn. And
watch me do it incorrectly.
What do you say on your channel?
I learned the hard way, so you don't have to.
There you go.
It's true.
All right.
All right, so we're going to start by taking off the starter and all this fun junk on the front of the engine here. We have to take this all off so we can get the carb off, tear it open, and see what is or isn't wrong inside of it. I'm sure it's pretty clean, but I don't know that the carburetor has ever been rebuilt. Definitely hasn't been rebuilt since we've owned it, unless I don't know unless you guys know something I don't. All right, let's go ahead and start at it. Where are we at here? So we're taking off that piece. Nice thing is too, guys, if we don't get this back together today, we have a video to reference and see how I didn't put together right.
That's true. You got this guy right here.
Go ahead.
You want to grab that one right there?
Cat's having a hairball outside, it sounds like.
Cat's got some hairball issues. We have tennis shoe issues last video, now we got a cat coughing up a hairball.
Must have swallowed a mouse whole.
I hope so.
If you guys want to support the channel, you can send us some fly spray.
There you go.
Got him.
Nice.
One of them.
One of them.
All right.
You gotta get that guy right there. Then the starter housing should slide forward.
Oh, we're gonna need a flat standard. Where are we putting all these bolts at? Up here?
Just lay them up here. Like that. About ready to fall off. Catch it, K6, catch it.
Don't worry, I've got it. Okay, so.
Take that starter if you want to live. Oh, yeah, those two.
And we gotta take off I never took off the positive, or the front terminal.
You didn't disconnect the battery?
I didn't disconnect the battery, folks. It might be easier once you get that unhooked for me to get it off. It's down there a little ways.
Now guys, there's usually 2 pieces of tin on here, one on the front side and typically one on the back side, but this one doesn't have one.
A little different.
It's just a little different.
Starter's off, folks.
I just love the simplicity of these things.
Makes life easier for everybody.
What kind of smuts is on here? Oh yeah, I smelled it. I'm glad it's grease.
Don't worry about the poop particles on your hand.
See, no animal jumped up here and pooped on it, at least.
You know what's bad about these box of rags is every time I get down low, I buy 2 more. Throw them on the shelf because you don't want to run out.
I just replaced that one.
It's one of those things that, yeah, they're not free. It's a lot easier than washing up a bunch of rags in a washer. And
now what you want to be careful of, like this one here, you can pop that out or you can just take that screw loose.
Yeah,
it's easier in this situation because these bushings are so fragile. I just take the screw loose because we can get the sink back. That's not a worry.
And screw loose. It's the least of my concerns. It's the only screw I don't have loose, and we're doing okay.
It's all right. You just pop this guy right off, and then we'll take these 2 screws off. You want to take those off before you take that off?
Oh yeah.
This says
scalpel.
Scalpel. Oh, we can back that all the way off.
This would be a good opportunity for us to be wearing, you know, being doctors.
That's tight.
Snug.
Didn't want that coming off.
This has definitely been an odd year for bugs here. We didn't have hardly any gnats. At least I didn't. The mosquitoes haven't been all that bad, but the flies.
Flies are starting to take over.
This one's kind of a bear cat to get at. On this side.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you move that out of your way and get to it. Just thinking, we got it back.
They come all the way out.
Well, yeah, and you got to sneak it, tip it, and get it out from underneath here.
Oh.
But it's, yeah, it's kind of.
What the heck's this? Oh, it's just black tape. We might be able to get that out with the.
Get the carburetor completely loose. Fuel line on the bottom still hooked here too.
Oh.
Pop that loose for you. Coming?
I was thinking about it. The heart's out. Oh, it's out. Beautiful. Everything's out. We got the carburetor out of there.
All right.
Beautimus. It's a cute little guy.
We can set right up on that bench there and
Scalpel, clear. Sponge, clear. We're gonna have to shock him.
all right, there we go. We got the bowl off. Pull the needle out.
Yeah, we took the carburetor off here, and we've got opened it up, and I pulled
bring it right here if you want.
I pulled the needle out. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see that. We're getting zoomed in on here,
There we
but
go.
there's a little bit of wobble on the end of it. The end of this one's bent. We went over to a parts motor and grabbed this one, and it's just fine. So we took her to the wheel here and got the metal all cleaned up nice, and didn't expect that to be off again. Something didn't quite look right, so thankfully Michael's got a spare motor around here. He's got a couple of them.
Yep.
And we're able to hopefully route this one, and maybe that's some of the problem we're having. We're leaking air, or we're getting some weird mixture around the tip of this. So we'll just keep that in mind when we put this back together, and we know we got this. And
Yep.
not that we can't buy a new one, but I'm guessing this probably isn't a super cheap part looking at it. Even if it was, I don't have one today, so that's a whole other issue.
All right, back on the carburetor. And that one may not cause a lot. It just goes, because when it shuts off on the seat, when it bottoms out on the seat there, it shuts it off completely. But it could give you a funny feeling when you went to back it out.
Yeah, it is a tiny, tiny little bit.
Just got a little wobble. It's not
but-
much. You roll the other one I just cleaned up, it should be.
That is the new one.
That one is, I wire wheeled it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not at all. Huh. Again, may not cause much, so old
Yep.
busted, new hotness.
I'll just slide that back in this old carburetor over here.
And it
Just to plug a hole.
might be just fine, but you never know.
Might as well go with what looks better and is better.
Could be a problem, may not be. All right, so what's next? How to
Go
take
ahead.
this off?
Yeah, go ahead and you can punch the
Pin out.
pin out. Yeah, usually pop out from one side. Yep, just like that.
Float is out.
And that's a gasket there you'll pull off too.
This just
Yep.
comes out. Does this come out?
Nope,
Does not come
that
out.
stays. The other thing you'll take off on the bowl is that drain screw. What looks like a drain screw is actually a
Okay. This.
jet underneath there. Let's see if that 7/16 fits it.
Oops.
Yeah, pop that out. And we'll backlight a light through it, back through the bowl here. What you're gonna look for inside here is a nice round hole.
Damn bug.
I'll show
see
that.
it.
Can you see it?
On the back part or down the, oh, there we go.
There you go, right there. Yeah.
It appears to be round to me.
If it's good and round, you're good to go.
Let the doctor take a look. Get your diagnosis, see what you think.
Let's see if we can get up here on the shot here. Get up close and personal. All right, guys, what we're looking for here, so we can get the light to get in there just right. See that hole right there in the middle of that dark spot? You're looking for that to be perfectly round. If it's not a perfect round hole, there's a good chance you've got some blockage and you need to clean it out.
It looks pretty good though from what
That's
I
your
can see.
main jet that'll mess you up.
All right, so let's Get that all apart.
The next order of business, what I do is I flush that whole thing clean with some carb cleaner.
So that's completely apart.
Yep.
Okay.
And my carb cleaner of choice, and you guys are gonna laugh at me, is Brake Clean, not sponsored.
Just doused her down.
Let's do it outside
Right top of-
because it smells really
Must have been
bad.
a smart ass. I've used a prickler before.
You can do it out there, up front there, it'll be fine.
I think the people kind of seem to like the collaborative video.
They seem to enjoy it.
So far.
There's a lot of comments like that I was pretty impressed with.
That's good though.
Yeah.
I mean, it adds a little different flavor to it than.
Well, it's more of a conversation instead
more-
of just a crazy guy talking to himself in the shop.
A little bit personality addition, whether it's right or wrong.
Yep. So to kind of catch you up on where we're at, folks, we've cleaned it out, flushed it out, made sure all the passages were clear with compressed air. I used brake cleaner in there to make sure there's 3 little portholes in the top of the carburetor. I might bring it real close to the camera here in just a second and show you what I'm talking about. You want to make sure when you spray a little bit of liquid brake clean in there that it drains through those holes relatively quick and drains completely. That way you know those passages are clean.
And things were pretty clean, but there was some gunk in there. So, I mean, whether from sitting or just build up over time, I don't know. And those holes didn't drain very quick. So it was kind of a good exercise to take that apart, put the new kit in here, the new float, and a lot of fun jazz, a new gasket. This does have a pretty decent gasket in this kit, again, compared to the one that came with it.
Yep. The one that was in it was real soft rubber. This one's a little firmer rubber, different durometer. But yeah, we put the new float in, new needle seat,
So
or
you
new
guys can
needle
see
in.
down in here. I'll go bring it up and Michael will
Yeah.
zoom you in, but bring it up this way might be the best way. Right down in here, there's 3 little holes
Right where
there.
the tip of my finger's at. Look in that area there. There'll be 3 holes. Looks like you can see 1 to 2. You can about see 3 of them there. You want to make sure that when you spray the carb cleaner in there upside down, so it can drain into it. Make sure it's flowing through there.
Yeah, there was some gunk around that area. Again, could be old fuel that was sitting in there, or it could have been building up over time. And I wasn't draining very quick. We went ahead and sprayed some in there, kind of let her drain out, and we took air back through the different ports on the carburetor to get her all hosed down. There was a chunk of something that came out, something.
Said he
not
felt
much,
something hit his hand.
like
So
a little tiny pebble or something that was hard.
knows?
So maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was just my imagination.
well, you think about it, these carburetors spend a lot of time running without a fuel filter.
Yep.
There might be a screen in the tank
The screen doesn't block much.
that doesn't block the really, really small stuff that could block a jet. So
So we got the bull back on. I got the screws in, tightened to the specifications,
to the right specs.
tightened enough to not leak.
Now we got right here. We can put on the back of the bowl here. We can put that back on with the new gasket here.
Can you do any of that? Does it look okay?
No,
to you?
that's just a plug.
Do I need to take this one off, put the new one on?
If you're gonna put the new, I think that's the new gasket there. I wouldn't hurt to put it on.
So we'll just take whatever parts we got left, we'll throw them back in the bag, and I'll have a just-in-case kit. For
All the parts you don't need.
Exactly. Except for I'll keep the float. It looks like it's in okay
that
shape.
float seems fine. Float needle will probably just fine. So you got all that back together?
So I got that in there. What else do I got to do?
Okay, last thing we got to do is this little O-ring here, the rubber piece here, goes right into right there.
Right there.
Yep, just press that in there. And what that'll do is that'll seal. You'll thread, it basically starts threading it back into there, and that'll seal up.
Okay.
We'll put that in.
Our new, cleaned up, basically looks new.
And what you're going to do is you'll turn that all the way in, and you'll gently bottom it out, back it off 1.5 turns. It's always a good starting point.
Got it back together. You saw what he said there. We took it all the way down, then we backed it out 1.5 turns. My first carburetor build. We'll see if it runs or if it leaks fuel. Woohoo, go me.
Go me.
It's rebuilt, doesn't mean it works. Done that a couple times in my life. God, I love the smell of carb cleaner. That and it's ZEP 45 rust preventive lubricant stuff. It's got like silicone in it.
Oh yeah?
Have you ever used it before? The guy I work for North English uses it on his metal parts to kind of protect them and stuff.
Yeah?
It just smells good. I don't know why that silicone smell in it or whatever it is, the chemical smell.
Yeah.
I use that as an air freshener in the house. It'd be all right.
See if you can get Glade to have that smell mixed with bacon cooking
Oh
smell.
my. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this goes on.
Okay, so now when you're in that position, when you're coming up here, what you're watching for with this adjustment here is, well, this is where we have to back this all the way off. So now that'll come all the way back to not touching.
It's not touching now.
So yeah, so you see where these two little notches are here? Now, I did have a guy leave a comment that says, because right there is where it should be touching, in the middle. Now he said in the...
So then you tighten this up then? Or how do you...
No, you got it. This is where this adjustment comes into play. So now we'll take this adjustment. This is where the throttle is supposed to just start to open up.
All right, now we're getting this all adjusted back.
Because now we got this up against the cam. So now when you start to move it some more, now go all the way back where it's not touching. Now come out to where it's touching. So now you want to watch to see when this butterfly actually starts to move. So I think we're right where it needs to be there.
All right, let's go ahead and get the water pump back together, slap the bottom end on, and
slap some spark plugs back in it.
Might as well do some spark plugs while we're at it.
Do some spark plugs, and the top end's done, other than the wiring.
All right.
We'll solder on 2 more wires real quick, and then we'll put that stand back on the vise. All right.
All right, still working.
They're going back together. Now we put a little bit of grease on this plate.
Because why not?
Because why not?
It makes it work a little better.
It does. That way it's not a chance of it starting up dry. And we're going to put the little drive pin back in for the impeller. So that's back in.
And put a little grease on it so it doesn't come out.
Doesn't come out easy.
We got the...
we're ready for our impeller.
Impeller is
Where'd
in
you
the
hide
bag right
it?
there.
There we go. You got the brand new impeller. Slide that on, drop it over the pin like that.
And then I've seen the trick. You just spin this way, you put
Yeah.
it in there and let it go in. I've been watching.
You've been watching.
There's no seals in this, right? Okay.
All right.
So the first time here, you put her down on.
Give it a shot, Kyle. See what you can
I'll
do.
give her a go. It's my first time ever putting one on, so.
Don't be shy. Now, if you miss it, you're hitting that, you're probably putting it in the wrong way.
Oh my
So,
God, I
you're
just
fine.
realized that.
What?
I was putting it on the wrong way.
No, you're doing fine. Just line up see how your shape of this plate is?
Yeah.
It'll be the same shape as that.
Kyle, you're such an idiot. Ignore me. I thought that was right.
There you go, right there.
Oh, that's what I was doing.
So now you got those holes lined up. So now while you're pushing down, while you turn it clockwise, yep. Should just suck it right in.
Yeah, saw that. Look at that. Expert level. After I got in the right spot. I think it's in there, right?
Well, that fits the house. You know, we had a tough time getting that out.
What?
It just fits really tight.
Yeah. That grease makes all the difference. It's nice.
Don't it? I'll go ahead and rotate that shaft. You know what? That's like
look the same.
really tight right there.
Some don't look the same.
Well, it's whoops. It's the same. It's just that one came out really tight.
Remember that?
Yeah, because remember we had worked it pretty hard to get it off there. There we go. Whoops. Now it's sitting right down in there.
Perfect.
Now do I have the holes lined up? Pretty close. Yeah, this belt sanded just a little bit off of there. Not much. It should be those 3 slotted screws.
Okay.
So now this one I put the 2 back in the top.
On the top, okay.
Goes back in the outboard first. It's better. Give me a nice tight fit, Clark. All right. So this guy here, you kind of get an idea where it goes. It kind of does one of these numbers like this. So you can see when you got the tail end up in the air, this has got to come out on this side
Towards
of
the
the
back.
shaft.
All right, so we got it in the tank. We're gonna pull the choke out. We don't have the electrical hooked up to it. We primed it up here. Let's give her a full pulse and see what happens. We're in start.
What's your prediction? How many pulls?
8.
8?
Yeah, 3.
How far? Let me see how far you got the starter. Back that off some. Let me see where. Okay, go a little back again. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
As far as,
As far as it'll go. Okay, cool. I'm gonna predict 4.
4?
4.
I'll go. I'll go.
Manly pull.
I'll go with 6 then. Three. Oh yeah. Choke. I used to starting that easily.
Okay, that's hard.
Another reason why clear water line.
Why aren't we pumping any water? All right, folks, and you saw it run, you saw it fire up there, but something still wasn't quite right. Kyle and I were looking it over, trying to figure out what's going on. Well, I'm going to tell on ourselves a little bit what we had some issues with, and I didn't capture it all on video, but I feel I can go over it with you here and give you some inputs on what we discovered, and then I'm going to show you this thing running like it should. Let's go into the cover here, and I'm going to point out a few things that we did that made it better. Now, one of the other issues we had was fuel delivery. And we'd put new fuel line on it on the intake side and the out to the carburetor side of the fuel pump. And we'd also installed a new fuel pump. And we had to loosen screws up here to rotate the back plate so it was in the right orientation so our hoses were laid how we wanted them to lay. But we kept getting a little bit of air bubbles in here. We couldn't figure out why. And this screw down on the bottom here is very difficult to get at once it's installed. So bottom line is we thought it was a bad fuel pump originally, that we got a brand new one and it wasn't working right. And then we discovered that we didn't quite have these screws quite tight enough, and it was sucking just the slightest amount of air back through here. And you didn't notice it till you pumped the primer bulb up really hard and created a lot of back pressure. And you could see a little fuel coming out along the gasket. I was like, okay. So then we pulled these two screws back out and tightened these two up pretty darn snug. And then we tightened these up really good. And then our air getting in the fuel and causing the fuel pump not to pump properly, that problem went away, which was great. Okay, problem number one solved. Then we were trying to go, okay, why is it still running? We got a lot of coughing. The thing was coughing and coughing and coughing. And we couldn't figure out why. And it's driving us absolutely batty, right? So then we decided, hey, we haven't touched the points at all yet. Maybe that's what's getting our cough. We're not getting a good spark. Because we'd put new spark plugs in it. And lo and behold, yes, we pulled the flywheel off. We did discover that the points were pretty burnt. We sanded on them a little bit. Thought we could get away with that a little bit. And decided, hey, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. And so we ordered a new set of points. And put those in it. And set the gap and all that fun stuff on the points. Put it back together, thought, okay, let's throw it in the tank again. And we started to run it again. Still got this cough. And it was weird because this cough would come, it would start off as, cold engine, start up with no cough, run real smooth for about 3 or 4 or 5, maybe up to 8 minutes. And all of a sudden this harsh cough would come into play again and again and again. It was intermittent. We couldn't figure out what was going on. And then we started playing with the spark plug wires a little bit. And we checked compression again, checked spark again, and then we realized we actually dropped this top cylinder while it was running. Then the top cylinder came back again. It's like, what the heck is going on? So, Kyle bought a new set of coils. And we thought, well, yeah, let's put new coils on it. That'll fix things up real nice. And one thing we couldn't see, and I'm going to try to get you in the shot here, there's a crack right across here. And maybe that's pretty common on these, maybe it's not, but there's a crack on the back of the coils. So I thought, okay, that can't be good. So we did put the new coils on. We didn't even see this because the way these are assembled, the crack was in the very back. And lo and behold, both of these old coils were cracked. Plus they were a little, rusty and crusty. So it's for the price of coils, and he's planning on keeping this motor for a long time. They've had this boat in his family. His dad and him have had this boat for a long time, and they're planning on having it for many years to come. So it's like, okay, let's just freshen that up. So he put new coils on it, thought, well, okay, we got that cough problem fixed, right? Wrong. The cough is still there. And it almost seems worse than it had been before. And it's like, what in the heck is going on? So Kyle's like, hey, I just feel like something's not quite right with that carburetor. He wasn't very confident in what we did with it. And I said, he goes, what if we just pull that carburetor back off one more time? And I'm like, what? Are we going to second guess our work? You bet we are. So I'll show you what we did. So we pulled the carburetor back off and we started examining each piece. And there's not a lot to these. They're relatively simple. Well, we backed this screw all the way back out because if you recall, right back here, there's a rubber bushing that seals up around these threads. We backed this all the way off. I popped that. I looked down this hole, and And I'm like, something doesn't look right down that hole. What the heck is that? Well, then I popped the rubber bushing out, and lo and behold, we took my little pick and started picking out these little plastic pieces. And it was like a real thin-walled plastic is what it felt like or looked like, and it had kind of a red color to it. And we're like, where the heck could that have come from? We don't know. But I'm almost positive we blew air through this thing, and we cleaned it out, had everything flushed out and working pretty good. But apparently there's several, I mean, there were relatively large chunks that had come loose that must have been, I don't know if they were stuck down deeper in this barrel right before the needle seat, and maybe one of those is what kind of bent the needle on the original screw. We don't know for sure. But one thing we do know is that we picked everything out, blew it out, looked in there, it is clean as a whistle now, put the screw back in, stuck it back in the tank, and now everything works exactly like it should, which made us feel very happy. One other thing I didn't get a lot of detail on with you here is this wiring. We put new wiring through here. We installed one of these quick, disconnect plug here, so that can plug straight onto the battery. We've got the other piece that has the lugs to go right onto the battery, which makes it really nice. So if you want to take the motor out, you can just unplug it and away you go. The one thing we got left to do that I'm gonna wait till he's back over here to do again is these clips are kind of fragile, and believe it or not, the ones on the hook to the outboard, the original pieces, didn't break, but one of the new ones snapped. The plastic snapped trying to snap it together. So I'm not sure what he's going to do yet, whether he's going to just order a replacement coil because that snapped too easily. It's like too hard a plastic or something. And or if we're just going to cut these both and make them both with our own connection, like a blade connection that's covered, so this is easily unplugged in the future. So I'm letting him decide what he wants to do there. I'm good either way because this connection is now good. It is like factory. If he gets another coil and this is like factory again, that's fine. Or if we just only cut and replace this one, I'm fine with that too. But one thing we do know is right now this needs to be covered up, but it does run just like it is, but we're not going to go out in the lake that way. I'm going to throw this back in the tank and show you how this thing runs now that we've got all this work done to it, and we'll go from there. Now this is what has dripped off of the motor after the last time we ran it. You got to keep in mind this motor has ran a lot of 30-to-1 mixture ratio in the fuel, and I think the more we run it nowadays with the cleaner fuel, it's cleaning out a lot of the old buildup that's inside the exhaust housing, but it's running really good right now. All right, we're gonna pump her up full of fuel here. I guess I'll pull the choke on it. We'll see how many pulls it takes to start. It's been sitting, golly, what was that? It's probably been sitting 4 days now, 3 days, 3 or 4 days since we were messing around with it and discovered all our problems. Let's see what it does. That's running out of fuel. Boom. Still trying to nail down the starting procedure on this motor. I had the choke out. It seemed like that was a lot of smoke boiled out of there. It might have been a little too rich. Fired right up though. I think Maybe next time a cold start, I might just try it without, or we will try it without choke and see how that goes. But so far, so good. I mean, we got to just hook the positive back up to the starter, and we'll be ready to use the electric start on this bad boy, and we'll fix these 2 coil pieces. So pretty tickled with how it's turning out so far. I think Kyle's very pleased with the results. We've got a lot of fresh parts on here. You know, this thing has good compression. The rest of it, you know, can be brought up to snuff. If you don't have good compression, you're going into the heart of this thing to fix that, and it gets way more expensive real fast. But if you got an outboard with great compression, the rest of it is actually pretty darn easy. You know, if you have to do seals or anything else, everything else is external, so it's not that difficult overall. The one thing I didn't talk about earlier is we did put a new thermostat in here. We were noticing that intermittently the water was pumping or not pumping through as much as we thought it should. All of a sudden it would be fine, then it would be not fine. Well, we pulled the thermostat out of here, and it was gunked up, garbaged up with who knows what, you know, years and years and years of it picking up and stuff gathering around it. So we did put a new thermostat in here. I didn't show that in the video. Pretty simple. 3 bolts up top here. Lift the cover off. Lift out the thermostat, put your new one in, put your cover back on with a new gasket. And if you watch one of my other videos, recently I did it with a 20 horse, it'd be just like this one. You can actually put a telltale P-hole in this style of motor if you want to. It's not necessary. If you just look out the back, you can see the blubbery water out the back. As long as it's blubbering, you know your pump's pumping. All right, well, let's go outside. I'm gonna show you some other stuff that's going on with his boat that we're working on right now, and that'll be the end of part 2. And then part 3 will be coming up, hopefully with some good luck. He's got wheel bearings ordered and a few other things ordered that will get the trailer. We got to do some wiring on the trailer to get that thing up on the, you know, so you can actually get it to the lake, right? Let's go take a look at some of the things you want to watch for if you're buying an old boat and trailer, or you've had one that's been sitting around a while. I'll show you some of the things that will scare the living crap out of you, because you might not think about these things. A lot of people don't, but I want to make you guys aware of it. Let's go outside and take a look at some of those items. Okay, as you can see here, we've got the hubs off of the trailer axle. These had bearing buddies on it, but a lot of trailers do have bearing buddies on them. But the problem you'll have with that is they still can get moisture in there. It's designed to keep moisture out, but in this case, it still had moisture in there, and it still destroyed the bearings. It wasn't awful, but because I've seen a lot worse, and I'll show you what the bearings and the races look like in here in just a minute. But one thing that's very important to take note of, and I'm gonna get you here nice and tight and show you what this looks like on the tire. Now, this tire wasn't in awful shape, but it's got a lot of years on it. Now, every tire made in the last, I don't know how many years, has a date code on it, and you'll see it in a little oval shaped pattern like this. This is on trailer tires, car tires, anything that goes on the highway type of tire. As you can see, this is 1208. What that means is it's 12th week 2008. So this is 2021. These tires are very old. So you're looking at a 13-year-old tire, right? That's not good. Anything older than 10 years, you need to discard, replace, and put in new, because these are a hazard. Even if they look good on the outside, they can still dry rot from the inside. Rubber will age from the day it's made, and that's what some people have trouble understanding. And that's what I want everybody to understand, is that, you know, anytime something plastic or rubber, you know, anything, once it's made, from that second on, it ages. Rubber does not age well typically, and especially on tires. Some people think, oh, I've had these tires in my basement for 10 years. There's nothing wrong with them. They look absolutely beautiful. I've had them in a climate-controlled environment. Wrong. Those tires are now 10 years old and they are junk. They might look nice, but I guarantee you, if you've got a reputable tire place on a 10-year-old tire, they will not install it for you. They won't even air up a tire that's over 10 years old. So that's how important it is to watch the date codes on your tires. The other tire on the other side has an actual bulge on it, and you couldn't see it. It was on the inside of the tire, had a bulge on it. Good thing is Kyle didn't blow out his tire getting here, but he made it here. But he does have 2 new tires and wheels ordered. because he realizes, you know, he understands the hazards. And the most, I've said this many times on my channel, the most neglected part of a boat is the boat trailer, because you dunk that thing in and out of the water all the time and you don't think about the wheels, wheel bearings taking on moisture and causing you a problem, or your trailer just plain rusting out because your paint's old and it's not protected anymore. And the only thing you can do if you're on the side of the road and you've smoked a bearing and burned up an axle is replace your whole axle. That's all there is to it. Now, granted, most trailer axles aren't that expensive, but they do cost enough that you don't want to buy it if you don't have to. A set of wheel bearings and seals are cheap, and repacking your wheel bearings with grease every year is inexpensive. Now, I'm very maintenance oriented, and on my other trailer that I've dunked in the water hundreds of times now, halfway through the year sometimes I'll pull the wheel hubs off just to take a look at them, and I'll discover that moisture got in one. Even though I had it fully protected, moisture got in one, pitted out my bearing, and I replaced the bearings anyway. I ended up having to replace the bearing. The other side was fine. Repacked it, stuck it back together. It's good for many, many more miles. But in your regular trailers that are out there, like the one behind me, I don't know if you see it over here behind me, like a regular utility trailer or a car trailer or something that aren't dunked in the water, will go thousands and thousands of miles, and you don't have to worry about them, because if you got good grease in there, it'll last quite a while. And because it's not subject to the same moisture. Yes, it might be rain and stuff, but you're not taking something that just came down the highway, maybe somewhat of a warm day, and cooking on that, you know, a hot pavement and stuff, and you got a wheel bearing that's over 100 degrees, that housing's over 100 degrees, and then you dunk it in 60-degree lake water. It's gonna suck in moisture. It's gonna condensate. It's gonna do some things inside there that you don't see happening from the outside. That's why you wanna check those on a regular basis. Anyway, I just thought it important to share that with you, that piece of knowledge with you, because date coding on tires is important, whether it's your car. I'm getting ready to go check. My wife and I, we've got a 15-year-old, we just bought it recently. If you follow my videos, you see that I've just put rear wheel bearing in there. It's a 06 Lexus RX 330. Like I said, I picked it up for a good deal. Don't say, oh, he's got a Lexus. No, believe you me, I don't pay a lot for my vehicles. I like the older stuff. I like to pay less money and get a lot of life out of them yet, and it's easy to do, for me to do, because I do all my own mechanic work. Anyway, that car has some tires on it that are probably a little over 50% wore out, and at 98,000 miles, my prediction are they are the second set of tires put on that car, and that car is 15 years old. So there's a real good chance that those tires are over 10 years old, and if that's the case, it's not safe to drive that on the road anymore. We're gonna have to get new tires put on it, but I'll take a look at that, and when I get ready to do the timing belt in there, I'll let you guys know in the video when I do the timing belt how old those tires actually are, whether I'm gonna be able to get some life out of them until the winter time and then put a new set on, or if I need to do that right away. All right, glad I was able to share that information with you. I feel it's very important. Let's go back inside and pull that motor out of the tank and wrap this video up. Alrighty, we're back inside, and as promised, I wanted to show you this wheel hub. This is your inner bearing race right here. We have pulled it apart. All the bearings are over in the tank, or actually they're in the scrap barrel right now because they're junk. But see these dark spots on the races here? As I spin this around, you can see all the little marks in here. That is wiped clean. And as you can see, there's pitting and stuff on those races. Those races are junk. If you see any pitting or marking at all, dark spots on that race other than shiny metal, it's time to replace those wheel bearings and the races and repack them and put them back on your trailer then. Otherwise, some people might go, oh, that's not dented up, that's not that bad. Well, when you're broke down on the side of the road with a smoking wheel bearing and possibly a blown tire because things got so hot, these things can get hot enough they'll glow red. And a lot of people don't know it because it's way back behind them, and they can't see what's going on back there. For the price of the set of wheel bearings, fix it, make life a lot better for yourself, put new ones in. Part 3, we're going to show you how we put them in, repack them, and reinstall them on the trailer, and get that trailer back in good shape, and see how this thing's going to perform. You know, my prediction is we should hit, 20 to 22 miles an hour, maybe more, in his John boat. I mean, it's a 14-foot extra wide. This thing is super wide, so it's like already on plane, just sitting in the water. So just a little bit of push from one of these motors is going to get her going down the water pretty quick. You've seen my C-nymph with the little 20 horse. I can hit 22, 23 miles an hour. This is a 25 horse. I'm guessing we should hit at least 25 miles an hour, and that's no correlation to horsepower to speed at all. But that's my prediction. We'll see how it goes. So folks, I appreciate you hanging out with me and watching this video. More to come on this part. In part 3, we're going to get this bad boy on the water, but we got, like I said, we got to do some work on the trailer and some in the boat. He's going to get a couple of batteries and different things like that just to tune up the boat and get it ready for the test run. I will most likely be out there with the old Banana so I can keep up with him and get some good drone footage and some good head-to-head footage. We may even do a little drag racing fun, hang the drone up in the air and do a little drag racing fun, and just to see how they perform. Because I know the John boat out there is going to be quite a bit lighter. We'll pull it across the scale at a local co-op on the way to the lake and just see what his boat and trailer combo weighs compared to mine. I know the Banana is 1,260 pounds, and I'd be curious what that aluminum boat weighs, because I know the Banana is kind of heavy. But it is a lot of fun, and it feels real good and stable on the water. I really enjoy that boat out on the water. All right, that's it. It's a wrap. We've had some fun here. Kyle, leave some comments down below. Don't be afraid to, give me some critiques of what I could do better. I'll try to do those things. You guys have been spectacular with your comments, and I've really enjoyed reading them, and I respond to as many of them as I can. If I miss one, not does YouTube let me see all the video or all the comments. Some of them may be held for review or something, so I may not see all your comments, and I apologize for that. I don't have any control over that. I review, I look at it daily. Whoa, there's a fly. Doggone fly, you see that? Went right across my lens like a little dirty fly. All righty. Oh, one other quick thing. Shout out to Badger Bob. I'm going to show you what he dropped me off at the other day. So good old Badger Bob, he lives about 3.5 hours away from me. He comes through this area occasionally. I've got another video of an 18 horse I'm still working on right there. Starting to put it back together. But he donated a lot of parts for that for me. I went up and visited him one time. He left me a message on my channel. I'm like, hey, that's not too far away. I'll come up and get those parts. But then he dropped off this old, it looks like a 1970 according to the tag, 20 horse. Now it's rough. It's no doubt rough. It's been, flywheels off, all the guts underneath are missing. I'm kind of curious if the power head has good compression or not. I can check that. Looks like some wires have been chewed through, but there's some good pieces here. And I much appreciate the donation. So thank you, Mr. Badger Bob. You guys read the comments down below. You'll see his name pop up every now and then. He's been a long-time follower and a long-time commenter, and I really do appreciate that. But yeah, this has got some good pieces on it. I've got lots of motors I'm playing around with, so it never fails that I can rob something here or there off of one of these motors and get another one running. This one also has a gearbox, as you guys have seen in my gearbox video. It's got a gearbox just like the other ones I had, so I'll be curious to pull that one apart and see if it has the same assembly issues or manufacturing issues as the one I repaired. And we'll go from there. But yeah, it's a lot of pieces are still here. Got a good carburetor here. We'll go from there. There again, thanks Badger Bob for dropping this off. Much appreciated, and I hope you got some good things over at old visiting this area. It's kind of a touristy area over near me, and people come in and buy different things, whether it's discount Amish goods and different things like that, or just seeing the quilts and all that kind of fun stuff in this area. But you guys get out there and have some fun. Please enjoy life. We're only on this marble for a limited amount of time. Make the most of it. I do appreciate you spending some of that time watching my videos. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up if you like the video. Give me the thumbs down if you don't like the video. That's fine. I can take it. I'm a big, tough guy. I can take it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. jump in there and be part of the subscription. Hit that notification bell so when I do drop another video, you get notified. Don't cost you a thing, but you'll get notified. Hey, there's another RMD Creations video out there. And then you can plan your day. It's like, well, I'm going to get my coffee because you know me, I don't do 10-minute videos. My videos are 30+ minutes, so it's better than a sitcom sometimes. But it's a real life adventure of what's going on with me in the outboard world and other things in my life. So, you know, people have asked me many times, boy, do you just love to hear yourself talk? I'm rambling on right now because these things pop into my head as I'm on the camera here. But yeah, I like to hear myself talk, I guess, but also like to share a lot of things. You know, if you're not passing some of this information and some of this knowledge on to the next generation, then what are you doing? It's nice that the generation, just like Kyle from K6 Outdoors, he's young enough that he's never had points on a vehicle before and didn't know what points did or how they worked or how they functioned. So he got some experience here when we replaced the points in his 25 horse. So learning some things there. There again, passing it along to the next generation. I think that's an awesome thing to do. But yeah, people ask me, hey, would you do this on a vehicle or would you do that on the vehicle? Well, I don't work on cars all the time and I don't have all these different options available to me to work on these different things. And so what I'm working on and what I'm sharing, which will help a few people, is this is what I have going on, and here's how I'm fixing to make it better for myself. And so that's just how my channel rolls. I'm just going with the next thing that comes upon me from that aspect. Yes, I am out there actively buying more outboards than I should be. My wife says I have a problem. I agree. I do acknowledge that it is a problem, but you know, if it makes you happy, do it. This is Michael. Enjoy the drone footage at the end of the video, as I've been leaving on all my videos, and the music, and I'm out. All right, let's get this thing out of the tank and start working on my wife's car again. Do that timing belt.